What is going on, everyone? Hope you're doing well. Let's see how this goes. My family is getting ready. I'm recording this a little later than usual. I had some other things I had to do. I woke up early this morning, but if anybody wants to hear, I'll tell you. But nobody wants to hear, right? Let's just get right to the let's get right to the reading. I think it's a good one. I think you're gonna like it. Hopefully, we had that good discussion. It seemed like Trey, like before this happened, I thought, oh yeah, Trey, good guy. He's gonna help out. But it seemed like he was being pretty selfish. However, pretty realistic. It's like putting your life on the line with for people you don't know. You could die. They've already done it once. I mean, I get it. I get it. But I mean, the book can't end like that, right? Well, we'll just let it happen. No. And it seems like Sawyer is maybe having some doubts because he didn't want to go to the library. Maybe he just needs a break. But Jules is like, I'm going to work on Trey. And she's going to do that in sculpting class here. So, chapter 18, let's do it. Let's just talk about it a little more before you decide. I whisper once the teacher lets us loose to work on our own. Trey and I share a table, which is, according to our stunned classmates, something no brother and sister has, shouldn't it be has? Something no brother and sister has ever done as ever before. Man, no brother and sister have ever before done willingly in the history of education. I don't get why not, but whatever. Trey pretends I'm not there. All right, really quickly. I got to tell you a story, right? Tell you a little story here. My sister is 2 years younger than me, both last name Watson at the time in high school. And we were both in the same French class. I had taken a couple years of Latin and then it got really hard. So I switched to French and she was in my class. And we sat right next to each other, alphabetical, but it was fine. I mean, I I wouldn't probably normally like willingly choose to sit by her, but it was all right. We made it through. Maybe that will happen to you and your brother or sister in high school if you have one. Trey pretends I'm not there. I don't know how to handle him when he does the silent treatment. It may be a stereotype, but we Italians aren't exactly known for our ability to keep our opinions quiet. All I know is that if I poke him a little, he'll start in on me. And that's when we can actually accomplish something. What if we do know one of the victims? I whisper. Does that change anything? He frowns at his misshapen bowl, then scrunches up his nose, smashes the clay into a ball, starts over. I try again. What if you save someone and he turns out to be the guy of your dreams? He turns towards me. For blank's sake, Jules, he hisses. This is not a romantic situation in any possible way. Grow up. Yow. I stand abruptly, walk over to the paint shelf, pretending to pick out colors for the fruitcakes I've been making to go in Trey's dumb, lopsided bowl that he keeps destroying, all of which will one day be buried under a sea of blank crud collected by my father. I think about painting my fruit Dayglow colors so they'll be easier to find when my mother's looking for something to put on top of my casket after top of the next column after I get shot to death. And then I start thinking about actually getting shot if things don't go well. And I really start creeping myself out. I'm pulled back to reality when I realize somebody's calling my name. I whirl around and it's the art teacher telling me to and Trey to go to Dr. Grimm's office. The principal. Yeah, that's his real name. Thank dog he's not an oncologist. Oncologist? That's someone who works on cancer patients, right? Trey's puzzled glance meets mine. And then in an instant, my heart clutches because I realize if they want both of us, it's not just because of my stupid scratch fest with Roxy. It's got to be something serious with Rowan or mom or dad. You can see she curses there. I stumble out of the room after Trey, and I feel like the world is coming up around my head like water. When we're alone in the hallway, both of us walking faster than normal, I say it. Do you think Dad did it? Trey's teeth are clenched, and he replies in monotone, I don't know. How awesome is it being a kid who's always wondering if one day she's going to come home from school and find out her dad offed himself? We round the corner near the office, and inside, through the glass wall, I see a cop. Oh, crap. Top of the next column, I say, and I feel all the blood flooding out of my head. Do you see mom anywhere? No. We reach the door, and Trey pushes it open, and I stare at the cop and then at the secretary, and I can't help it. What's wrong? I say, breathless. Is Rowan here? The secretary, this last name right here, Miss Branderhorst, frowns at me like I did something wrong. Trey whips his head around as somebody enters the office behind us. It's Sawyer. He looks as puzzled as we are. The cop asks us our names, and then the principal comes out, and they make us go back into his office. And the only thing I can think of is that my dad went postal and took out Sawyer's parents and then killed himself. Mom, I think. And now I'm freaking myself out and telling myself to calm down. We sit in chairs, and none of our parents are there, most likely because they're dead. And then the cop says, "Where were you at lunch today?" And this is weird, but right then I realize he's the guy who fills in once a week for our regular beat cop, Al, by the restaurant. And somehow knowing that makes me feel better. Top of the next column. Wait. Sawyer holds out his hand out. Did somebody die? Why are we here? Mr. Grimm interjects. Mr. Angotti, kindly answer the question. Trey sits up, his eyes sparkling. You're not going to tell us if somebody died? Nobody died, the cop says. Jezebel. I say, I don't think anybody says Jezebel anymore. Slumping back in relief. You gave us a heart attack. The cop and Mr. Grimm exchange a look. And, excuse me, then the cop repeats the question. Where were you at lunch today? We ate lunch in the cafeteria. Together, Trey says. And then we wandered the halls until next period started, like everybody always does. We in trouble or something? The cop looks at me. What'd you talk about? What? I ask, confused as hell. And then my blood runs cold. Somebody overheard something. I sense Trey stiffening in the chair next to me. We received a 911 call from a student who says he overheard you three talking about something suspicious. You want to tell me what you were talking about? I keep the puzzled look on my face. Let's see. We talked about the weather warming up. We talked about our work schedules. Top of the next column. Me and Trey at DeMarco's Pizzeria and Sawyer at Ignati's Trattoria. I add, in case it helps. And gosh, I don't know. I say, looking at the boys on either side of me. My psych project, maybe? TV shows? Video games? I start throwing out random things, hoping one of them will save me. Call of Duty, Sawyer says. You ever play? He looks at the cop. Kind of violent, but the cop doesn't answer. He looks at me and my cast, and then at my scratches. Almost forgot I have on my neck. The DeMarco kids who saved this guy's parents. Top of the next column. Restaurant, he says, flicking a thumb at Sawyer. Yes, Trey says. Well, it was mostly Jules. I blush, appropriately, for once. You're a beat cop when Al has his days off, aren't you? I ask. Police officer, Mr. Grimm corrects. The cop grins for the first time, rolls his eyes without the principal seeing. He pockets his little notebook and adjusts the gun on his belt. Yep, I'm your fill-in beat cop, he says to me. And then he turns to the principal. I think we're done here. The principal's eyes flicker, but he nods. Top of the next column. Thank you, Officer Bentley. The cop leaves, and then the principal looks at us. He clasps his hands together. Well, you may go. We all stand up and file out to the reception area. Principal Grimm flags down Mrs. Branderhorst to write us excuses to get us back into class. Once we're in the hallway and my heart starts beating again, I let out a staggered breath. I don't dare say anything or even look at Trey and Sawyer. When we turn the corner, Sawyer puts his arm over my shoulders, and then Trey puts his arm over my shoulders and Sawyer's arm. And I reach around both their waists, and we don't talk. Not a word. Except for when Trey says, all right, I'm in. but only to keep you bozos from getting killed. Bozos. I don't think anybody says that anymore either. All right. Chapter 19. This is when Rowan sees the scratches. Now, if we know anything about Rowan, hang on. If we know anything about Rowan, she, in a way, I know, little sister, but she, in a way, seems a little bit, I don't know, maybe savvy, a little bit more street smart than the other two. So I don't know. She might, who knows? She might figure something out. I don't know. But Rowan is one of my favorites because we'll talk a little bit about Charlie and all that stuff. All right, chapter 19. Here we go. After school, Trey and Sawyer head to the library while I drive Rowan home. She observes me loftily. Are you going to tell me what happened to your neck? My fingers automatically reach up to touch the scratches. Oh, stupid Roxy took something and I accidentally scratched her trying to get it back. So she lunged at me and scratched the hell out of my neck. Top of the next column. Wow. Well, I guess she's probably jealous. I raise an eyebrow, check my speedometer, touch the brakes just slightly. Of what? Come on. Rowan says, pay attention for once. She's been in love with Sawyer for years. Years? How would you know? The same way you sophomores know more about the junior class than you know about the freshman class. Everybody watches up. I'm a little surprised at how delicious this news feels. I thought they were just friends. Please. Is anyone just friends? There are always other motivating factors in relationships. Maybe not constant, but consistent. I look at her. She looks back at me. Her face? Certain. I shrug, wondering how she became such a philosopher all of a sudden. So now what? Rowan says. Now what? Now, what are you guys doing? You, Trey, Sawyer? Something's up. Top of the next column. And then, I don't know if you could hear that, but somebody just hit a wall. Nothing. Don't worry about it. She flips the visor down and examines her face. My flight is Sunday morning, she says. She rummages through her backpack and pulls out a pair of tweezers and then starts plucking invisible hairs from her perfect eyebrows. I haven't thought about her flight or about her secret visit to seek Charlie. I haven't thought about her at all lately. She continues. So I'll need a ride to O'Hare Airport while mom and dad are at Mass. She's never flown before. She says it like she's bored. Top of the next column. I'm a little surprised at how whoops, page didn't turn. Impeccable timing. When do you come back? I'll be back Friday before dinner service. You're welcome. I laugh. Sometimes Rowan just leaves me speechless. Okay, I say. What do you want me to say to mom and dad when they get home from Mass to find their youngest child missing? I mean, can I tell them the truth? Are you going to give me all the information about where you'll be and stuff? I have my cell phone with me. That's all they need to know. But yeah, I'll give you the address and stuff too, in case Charlie is secretly an axe murderer. Top of the next column. But don't give it to them, please. She licks her pinky and smooths her eyebrows, then deposits the tweezers back into her bag as I turn down the alley behind our home and park a few buildings away so nobody sees me. I don't want my dad to force me to come inside. Maybe we can talk tonight. She gets out and waves and then saunters down the alley towards the restaurant like she owns the world. And I totally want to be her. Now, we should probably talk about that for a second. I mean, that's risky, right? She's what? She's 14 during the school week. I thought she was going to go during the summer and kind of pretend hey, I got another soccer camp. That's a bold move. I'm leaving. They're going to be at church. When they come back, Rowan's gone. And then Jules knows where she's at. But that just makes my stomach if I would have to lie for my sister or whatever to my parents for the whole week. And as a parent, I'm thinking, man, they're going to be so worried about their kid. That takes some guts right there. That takes some guts. I don't think I want anybody to have guts like Rowan has. That could get you in trouble because who knows? Maybe Charlie is an axe murderer. Maybe Charlie has something to do with the school shooting. I don't know. But it is interesting that those two things are probably going to be happening near each other. All right, next page here. I meet Trey and Sawyer at the library. They're up in the loft on the corner couches where you can see everyone approaching but still have a private conversation. I plop down next to Sawyer, kick off my shoes, and curl up into him. He slips an arm around my shoulders and kisses the top of my head. Okay, fine so far. And I feel like this exact moment right here, this feeling of warmth and love, is what I've been waiting for my entire life. Trey watches us. He smiles a small smile and doesn't look away. And then he sighs and leans forward, elbows on his knees, and says, "All right, number one, nobody here gets hurt." At first, I think he must have new information from Sawyer, top of the next column, that I haven't heard yet. But then I realize it's a command. Sawyer nods. "I hear you, bro. We hear you. No crazy stunts, no matter what." Of course, I agree. While I was gone, Sawyer filled Trey in on a few of the minor but important details: the tree, the grass, tiny stop sign, the old building with ivy on it. I pulled the note Sawyer gave me this morning out of my pocket and hold it out. "We need to destroy this or something." I say. "Yours too." Sawyer pulls his note out, takes mine. "We have a shredder in the office. I'll take care of it. From now on, only verbal communication. We don't talk about GUNS in school." "Does Trey know about your secret phone?" Trey raises an eyebrow. "It's just a temporary throwaway." Sawyer says, "Don't bother trying to text her." I give Trey my new cell number and watch him enter it into his phone. "Sawyer, can you get away from the proprietors long enough to drive by some schools? The list is in your hand. Can you memorize them before you shred it?" "Yeah," Sawyer says. "I'll drive around tonight and tomorrow morning before school." Top of the next column. He looks at the addresses. "Some of these are way out there. Are you safe to drive?" "So far." Sawyer squinches his eyelids shut and rubs them. "The vision keeps playing in the windows down there, though, and it gives me a headache." He points to the wall of glass on the main floor below us. "And in the face of that clock, there's an old school clock on the wall opposite our couch." "What about your windshield and mirrors?" I ask, worried, knowing how distracting that is and how much worse it could be for Sawyer going out into city traffic. Top of the next column. "Not bad," he says lightly, "but things are getting worse. The noise is driving me insane. I think I feel like it's happening very soon." All right, and that is probably a good place to stop. I think we've done enough reading for the day. So maybe we can have a little discussion before we learn more about Croatia and Bosnia and Serbia. But it seems like things are kind of getting closer. We got the visions happening more often. Something tells me that he probably will lose his ability to drive very soon. Then maybe Jules will have to go out, or Trey, but at least they have three people. I don't know. Scary. Plow truck versus some guns. I'm taking that plow truck every single time. All right.